Good evening, Zambia. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching us this evening. This is a special interview with the man only known as Napsa, Mr. Chilufya Kachingwe. At the moment, we're having trouble with network issues at the moment. We're having network issues with my guest this evening, and while he just connects, I'm going to, if we can get him, I'm going to carry on with my usual Thursday night motivation. So, and while our guest is logging on, I will just get started with the topic, with a different topic, and see if we can get our guest back to come and join me this evening. One of the things about life is we always have plans of how things are going to turn out. We always have an idea in our minds of how things are going to be or how things should be. But that does not mean that's the way things are going to turn out. That does not mean that's the way things are going to be. So in everything that you do, my friends, you have to understand that we are on this journey in life to persevere, to have courage, to have strength. Let's see if I can get my guest back. Right, good evening, Napsa.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Welcome to TV Bakwetu.
Thank you so much. Thank you for according me this opportunity to be on this platform.
Thank you very. It's an absolute pleasure. So for me, Thursday night, 21 hours every Thursday, do Thursday night motivation with Frank, and I've been looking at other young Zambian people who I think they're inspirational in the things that they do, and I feel that there are things that a lot of Zambian people can learn from other people, instead of just thinking the way life is at the moment, that's the way it's going to be. So, Napsa, you were born in Chibombo. So if you can just tell the viewers, were you brought up with your parents?
To start with, you are calling me as Napsa, but my real name is Kachingwe Chilufya. Born in the year 1995 in Chibombo. My mother, born from Evans Kachingwe and Sylvia Bwalia Chilemba. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time to stay with my mother. She passed on when I was at the age of 7. So a lot of things went berserk because my father couldn't take good care of us together with my 3 brothers. Instead, my grandmother in Chibombo took care of all the responsibilities. That's how I started staying with her. So I stayed with my grandmother and my grandfather. Up to today, they're the people that I know to be my parents, because I grew up with them from a very young age of 7 until now. So I don't look at them to be my grandparents. They're just like my mother and father. And the unfortunate part as well is that my grandmother is normal. I don't have my 93-year-old grandfather.
Oh, we're sorry to hear about that, but it's a kind of an inspirational side of it that your grandparents just took up that mentor and brought you up with so much love and so much kindness. If you can just tell us, you didn't grow up in a lot of riches. You you were not. Your grandparents were not by any means rich people with a lot of money.
Oh yeah, my grandmother was just a common woman who never even had any tinges and tinctures of education, compared to my grandfather who reached as far as standard 3, who worked as a driver under ZCCM, that's Zambia Consolidated Copper Mine, until the time he retired. Uh, it was not an easy journey, or let me say it hasn't been an easy journey, because I'm still pushing and haven't completely gotten out of that topsy-turvy. It was a difficult journey because in villages we were brought up under extended families, so you'd find that we could be a number of minimum 15 people in one place. No good accommodation, no good nutrition. Everything was just a struggle of the day. You live, you survive to live tomorrow. So it wasn't easy, but we thank God with the love and the care that He provides unto us. It kept raining upon us, and today we are what we are, and almost everyone is independent and heading in their own direction, and obviously doing better compared to what we thought we could be.
Now, Chilufya, can you just tell us now? So, how important was education growing up? And you described the circumstances that you were growing up in. How important was education to your life at a very young age?
The most commercial activity in the village is the farming. Every time you wake up, the first thing on the schedule is how are you going to contribute to the food basket of the family, that is through farming. Uh, of all my siblings at home, I was lucky that me and my elder brother, Kachingwe, who is still at the University of Zambia, is pursuing his medical career. We came out, or we followed the academic way, because these others were just going as far as grade 7. They fail, they stop, they concentrate into farming, and others were being married off. But what really propelled me to go the educational way is I was a bit of a lazy boy. I couldn't manage to do farming, and the only way out of those hard situations was in school. And the lucky part was that I was privileged that the Lord gave me at least that assimilation power to study and to know or to grasp things in the academic realm. I was that bright boy that never even went to grade 1. I went straight into grade 2 because I knew how to read before I went to school. All kudos to my grandfather, who is a very, very ecclesiastic man, who used to give me storybooks to read, Bible storybooks. So he exposed me to education because of the tinges and tinctures that he had. Him going as far as standard 3 way back, that was some huge amount of education that one could acquire.
That is absolutely great stuff. Now, can you just so you're living in Chibombo, you're living in the village in Chibombo. You haven't got a lot of money. Where does a dream to go to university come from?
To start with, I never knew there was even a university. All I wanted was because this is me who grew up in Chibombo, started going to Lusaka when I reached grade 8. That's when my uncle could come and pick us up to take us to Lusaka. So that was the first time that we're getting exposed to modern life. I'm one boy that wore my first shoe in grade 7, all along from grade 2 to grade 7. That's term 2. I was just walking barefoot. I never knew what a shoe was. But all in all, it's been a journey. It's been a rough journey.
Now, describe when was that dream? All of a sudden, we have. I've been. When did that dream come? Where did that dream come from, and when did it come? When you thought, I want to go to university? Do you remember the moment that came about, and how did that come about, and why did that come about?
My education circle has been centered around my grandfather. Every time he could try to teach us one or two stuff, he could tell us about the University of Zambia, though we didn't know what a university was by then. But he could say a lot about the university. You go to university, you do this and that. Of course, that kept clicking into our minds that maybe one day we could go to the very university that Grandpa talks about. And the time I wrote my grade 7, dreams started changing. I was like, I'm becoming brighter day by day, because the school that I attended, that is Nachiaba Primary School, only had 5 classes, going as far as going from grade 1 to grade 9, with an addition of APU, that is the afternoon classes. So you can see how small the school was, and obviously my dreams were very small as well. But after I passed my grade 7 with flying colors, of which I got I think about 790 something, almost to 800. I became a bit motivated. Grade 9, after sitting for my exams as well, I got 516 marks. Then I had no option. My dream was to go to Chibombo Secondary, because that was within the confinements of my area. That's where everyone could go. But after I got such a huge number of marks, it was just inevitable of me to be sent to a higher school within Central Province, and that is Serenja Boys Technical High School. That is where all the cream de la cream of pupils that do well at grade 9 go to. So I had that opportunity to go to Serenja Boys Technical High School. Of course, the levels of exposure changed as well. I mingled with different people that were coming from different backgrounds. Therefore, I started knowing about the UNZA, I started knowing about university, colleges, and everything. And you have a chance also to meet up with the careers master. He or she tutors you through your career path. That's how I came to know about university life. And I was also one of the brightest boys in high school. Therefore, they started calling me UNZA suspect, UNZA suspect, UNZA suspect. That's how the motivation grew in my Medora Blancata, till that dream was achieved.
It's a nice level to have. There's a comment here by Sage. It says dictionary so pomposity. You see, some of your followers are here following you today, and I think it's great. So you go to Serenja Secondary School. Now you know this is a place where the best of the best in Central Province go. What attitude have you got? So probably you've come from Chibombo. You are the best student there. Now you go to Serenja Secondary School, and you've got best of the best surround you. What is your attitude there? What motivates you? And how do you feel to be surrounded by so many bright people, not just you alone?
The first time I entered into the vicinity of Serenja Boys Technical High School, the headmaster had a bit of a talk with me. That is what I call a serious colloquy. He looked at my results and said, "Young man, would you want to waste these results?" Because I happened to be the highest. The whole number of people that were sent there, I was the highest. So in short, I'm talking of I was the highest, the whole Central Province at grade 9 level. Therefore, like I said, you mingle with different people from different backgrounds. This one talks about where they come from, their family connection. Oh, my sister is a lawyer, my sister is this, my sister is this. Of course, I had nobody to trace my educational background to, because I was the only one that, together with my brother, were the only ones that were doing better academically. Of course, my brother was a grade ahead of me. So I could also get the inspiration from him as well, because he was also one of those bright guys. So we kept pushing each other towards the goal of becoming one of the elites in our country.
That is just amazing for me, that from where you're coming from. And then you got to you write your exam, you grade 12 results, you make it to university. Can you just describe the first few days you entered UNZA? What was going through your mind?
Going to university to me was the easiest thing of all, because the academic system at the University of Zambia is commensurate, or is tantamount, or is similar to that of Serenja Boys Technical High School. They are a bit similitudinous. So me moving out of Serenja Boys, jumping into the education system of the University of Zambia was more like I was in the same environment, except that the buildings, the surroundings were different, but the academic system are almost the same. So it wasn't that easy. I couldn't get surprised to see uh, people. I couldn't get surprised to see vehicles, because by then I was exposed. I could see vehicles at Ranger Boys. I could see rich people coming to check on their sons. So there was nothing astonishing.
It's always good. Do you know? I remember the first time I went to the UK. This girl came and asked me and said, "How did you get here? Did you get it on a plane? Do you know what a plane is?" So, so then there's something that is important, and I think it's important that young people get this. A few years ago, because I followed you so much, so a few years ago you posted something, and you were talking about how hardworking you were at university. So even though you were a bright student, but one thing that stood out for me is how the amount of hard work. You tell this story of how you and your brother could not see each other because one will go studying and one will come back and the other one will wake up and will go and they will go studying. Can you just describe that experience for us?
I remember it's the first days of my stay at UNZA were okay, though I had a bit of
I think you're frozen, my friend. If you can just come out and come back in. I think I've lost your video. So it's an interview with Chilufya Kachingwe, family known as Van Napsa. And at the moment we've just lost him. And what for me, what was important is to really make our Zambian people understand that hard work really pays, that where you come from does not have to define where your life is going to end up, that the actions that you take are more important than where you're coming from. That is what I'm trying to really emphasize this evening, and that's why I brought Chilufya on, so that we can talk about his life and his journey, and we can see from his life in Chibombo, in his life in Chibombo, as somebody's telling me there, how he was able to have a dream and how he's able to do the things that he has done and the things that he has achieved. For me, it's important as Zambian young people, we understand that we've got the power to transform our lives. We've got a power to take our lives to a new level, that our circumstances should never, ever, ever dictate what we're going to get in this world. Our circumstances should never, ever dictate what we're going to get in this world. It's not where you come from that determines your success. It's the actions that you take right now are the ones that are going to dictate your success. So we've had Chilufya's story growing up in a poor environment, but being able to use his talents and being able to take himself to be the top student, one of the top students in Central Province, and being able to take himself to university. All that does not just come because you're sitting around. That comes by you doing what is required to do. And I say this to young people when I speak. I say this to young people. Listen, sometimes the days where you want to do things that you want to do, the fun things, to go and see friends, to go to the pub and do the rest of the things. But if you do the things that needs to be done, if you do the things that ought to be done when it ought to be done, the day will come when you'll be able to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them. So many people never work hard enough on the things that are important to them. So many people never work hard enough on the things that matter to them. So many people never spend time building anything in their lives because they are focused on how much fun they can have. They're focused on just having a great time. You can never transform. You can never build anything great in this world if you do not invest. The way you spend your time today, you're investing it in the future. What have you done today? Have you studied a particular subject? Have you read something good and pure and powerful? Have you done something that's going to propel your life to a new level? Have you done something that is going to improve your confidence? Have you done something that is going to give you a new skill? These are the things that everybody has to focus on. A few years ago, when I first started in this area, I could not speak the way I speak. I can only do that because I've spent years practicing. I've spent years learning. I've spent years studying. I've spent years developing that skill. And this evening, that's why I had an Napsa one, because I want people to understand that greatness, we've got greatness. We want great results. We have to take great action. There's so many people who want to be successful without doing what is required. You can never be successful until you do what is required. You can't have a great harvest if you don't plant. Simple as. You cannot have a great harvest if you don't plant. If you want great success, if you want to see your life transform for the better, you have to plant now. And these are the things that are so important if we want to transform our lives. I see so many people, and I get very disconsolate. I can tell you that I get very, very disconsolate. I get messages from Zambian young people, and they ask me, "Can you send me some money?" No one ever asks me, "Can you teach me what you do? Can I learn from you?" People ask, "Can you just send me this?" And it's not about what I can give you. It's about what can I teach you? What can I learn? If you give a man a fish, you're gonna have to give him a fish forever. If you teach a man how to fish, he will feed himself and the family forever. And for me, that's why it breaks my heart when a lot of Zambian people are coming and sending me messages and saying, "Can you just send me some money?" Nobody goes, "What do you do? Teach me what you do. Teach me a skill. Teach me something that I can use to build my life." That's what life is all about, my friends. You can take your life to a new level by using a skill. When I got an opportunity to speak to the legendary motivational speaker Les Brown, what did I say? I said, "Mr. Brown, can you teach me? Can I learn from you?" And he became my mentor. Why? Because I looked at what can I learn from him that will help me build the life that I want. And my friends, this is the attitude that we are supposed to have. This is the attitude that we are supposed to have on a consistent basis, focusing on what can we learn? Who can we learn what from? Who can we learn what from? It's important we understand this. I'm trying to see if I can get my Napsa back, because there's some very important point I would like him to talk about. And yeah, so what is important? What is important for me? And what actions do I need to take to get me to the things that I want? These are the things that we have to focus on. The actions we take are going to propel our life to a new level. The action that we take are going to take our lives to a new level, or they're going to hinder our progress. So when we look at our lives and when we look at where we want to go, these are the things that we have to consistently look at. The actions that we take on a consistent basis are either going to hold us back or they're going to to propel our life to a new level. You have to ask yourself, are the actions that I'm taking propelling my life to a new level, or are the actions that I'm taking hindering my progress? Too many people have never even discovered their talent. Too many people have never even discovered their greatness. Too many people, everything that they're doing this far in their lives, they're just scratching the surface of what their greatness is all about. So we've got our friend Buck. Can you hear me? Hello, Chilufya. Can you hear me? I think we can't hear you. Just try and see if you can get back on. We lost the camera and everything. So in everything that we do, understanding that the actions we take will propel our life to a new level. These are the things that we have to consistently focus on. These are the things that we have to wake up every single day and say, what actions can I take to take my life to a new level? Life is supposed to be exciting. Life is supposed to be a joy. In this world, we've been given a talent, but so many people never utilize those talents. So many people go through this world without discovering what they could do, without discovering where their lives could go if they utilize their skills. So many people looked at me when I said I wanted to write my own book, and they said, "Oh," I said, "You can't be an author. You can't be an author." But I decided, you know what? I'm going to go and do it. And I did write my own book. And my second book, Finding Your Voice, comes out in April, end of April. Why? Because I decided, you know what? I'm not going to die with my book, with the book inside me. It was Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, who said, the wealthiest place on earth is a graveyard, because there you will find music unwritten, songs unsung, books unwritten and unpublished, talents unrealized, because the person who carried those talents did not think they're good enough, because the person who carried those talents did not think they could make it happen, because the person who carried those talents was told by so many people that you are not good enough. And my friends, what you have to understand is other people won't see your talent. Other people won't see that gift for you because it was not given to them. It was given to you. And you have got a responsibility to go out there and utilize that talent. Don't deny us your genius. Don't deny the world your genius. Don't deny yourself a wonderful life because the world keeps saying you're not good enough. Listen, you do not have to be great to get started. You have to get started to become great. And this, my friend, has to be the message that we carry each and every day. It's not where I come from. It's where I am going. It's not what other people say I can do. It's what I say I can do. It's not what other people say I should do. It's all about what I decide to do that's going to determine my success or my failure in this world. So many of us don't even know how much we can do. Listen, everything that we've achieved thus far in our lives, everything that we've achieved thus far is only the manifestation of what we think we're capable of. It's only the manifestation of what we think we deserve. And so many of us, because we don't think we deserve more in this world, we just scratch the surface of our greatness and never ever achieve the things that we want. My friends, if you work on your talents will take you to places that you would never believe you can achieve. When I started motivation speaking, I never thought of the doors that could open. I never thought of what lay in front ahead of me. But so many people For so many people, they never understood this. They never understood where the greatness can take them. They've never understood how wonderful their lives could be because they've never gone out there to really discover what they can do with their lives. It's important we know this. It's important we focus on this. It's important we wake up every single day to say, I'm going to work on my talent. I'm going to develop my skill. That I do not have to be great to get started. I have to get started to become great. And this is the most important thing that we have to follow. So for those who are joining us, I was joined earlier on by our brother and friend Chilufya Kachingwe, famously aka by Napsa. We were just talking about his life, where he came from and how he transformed his lives. And unfortunately, the network was not so great. So we didn't get to hear the end of the story. But for me, what I got to today is I got to speak to a young man who's determined, a young man who's determined to transform, who was determined to do great in his life despite his hard beginning in life. And my friends, what is important in all that we do is all about where we're going. Because if there's hope in the future, there is always going to be power in the presence. And if you've got the talent, if you've got the skill, go out there and use it. Go out there and develop it. Don't let anyone talk you away from your greatness. Don't let anyone talk you out of your greatness. It does not matter. It does not matter where you've come from. What matters is where do you go from here. It does not matter what other people have said about you. What matters is what actions do you take from here. It does not matter how many obstacles you faced in the past. What matters is what actions do you take from here. It does not matter how many failures you've experienced in the past. What matters is what actions do you take from here. It does not matter about the lack of resources in your life right now. What matters is what actions do you take from here. It does not matter how many people have said it's going to be impossible for you to make your life a success. What matters is what actions do you take from here. So my friend, as we look to transform our lives, as we look to ask ourselves, as we look to the future, a bright and better future, I call you, all the young people of Zambia, to understand that the future is in your hands, to understand that you can transform our lives, you can make our country great, to understand that you can make the future brighter than it has ever been. You can make your life brighter than it has ever been. To understand that the future is always bright. The future is bright by the actions that we take today. The actions we take today are going to determine whether our lives are going to be a success or a flop. Let us keep that hope. Let us give that future. Let us keep that fire burning. Because as long as there's hope in the future, there is going to be power in the present. As long as there's hope in the future, there's going to be power in the present. Wake up every day with an attitude that says, I'm going to turn my life around. I'm going to do what it takes. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it hard because I know it's worth it. If I do today what I need to do, the time will come when I'll be able to do the things I want to do when I want to do them. But for now, it's time for planting. For now, it's time for building. For now, it's time for learning that new skill. For now, it's time to put my head down and study. For now, it's time to go and learn that new skill so that I can propel my life to a new level. My friend, you are designed for accomplishment. You are engineered for success, and you are truly designed, and you are truly born to win. In all that we do, let us go there with an attitude. As Les Brown would say, if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. And if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, if you gladly fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of your opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want, with all your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty famish your God, sickness or pain, sickness or sickness and pain or bored can keep you away from the things that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you will get it. God bless you. God bless our country, and God bless your dream.